Well, good morning, good afternoon. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. This is Scott over at readysquirrel.com. You're probably watching this on YouTube. You can actually read the article again over at readysquirrel.com, and I'm actually also on BitChute. I'm backing up most of my videos over there. I actually just recently started doing that. Today we're going to talk about not freezing wheat before long-term storage. I'm going to do 3 articles: beans, rice, and wheat berries, hard wheat for long-term storage. It's going to be kind of redundant, but it's, somebody might be searching for one of those 3 things. So if you see these 3 videos pop up, you may just want to read or watch one of them because they're basically going to be on the same subject matter. Getting ready to have like a big write-off starting January 1st. I have to write, I think it's a minimum of 60,000 words in January. So I'm trying to get some videos knocked out on the front end because I'm not going to have a lot of time to do videos. We'll see how that goes though. I may want to do them just to get a break. Okay, so don't freeze wheat before long-term storage. To freeze wheat or not to freeze wheat, that is the question. What a lame Shakespeare ripoff that is. This month I'm repackaging 50 pounds of wheat berries into oxygen-free food-grade buckets. Should I freeze the wheat to kill weevil eggs, or is there a better way? There's definitely a better method of controlling bugs than freezing. I think freezing is kind of, it has historically been the best way to do it, but with the invention of Mylar bags and food-grade pails, it's not a great option for bulk storage. There's some other issues. Preppers should not freeze wheat before long-term storage. Freezing to kill bugs, eggs, and pupa, so all stages of bug life, is not reliable and takes much longer than storage in an oxygen-free container. And then the other thing with that is freezing wheat before storage increases moisture content. The leading cause of spoilage in grains. So you're basically taking a chance of just adding more moisture into the wheat that you're going to be storing for long-term storage. There's a couple things there. One, just the number one killer of wheat is moisture. And 2, when you package your wheat in Mylar bags or an oxygen-free environment, the higher the moisture content, the better chance you have of getting botulism in your food. So using Mylar bags and our food grade pails with oxygen absorbers is a quicker, more effective method of processing wheat for long-term storage than freezing. Using Mylar bags and food grade pails with oxygen absorbers is a quicker, more effective method of processing wheat for long-term storage than freezing. Okay, that makes sense. Freezing wheat is not an effective way to kill bug eggs. This is going to be hit or miss. Weevils are the most common bug that invades whole grains, and worse, most grains have bug eggs when you get them. Before long-term storage, you have to process wheat to kill all stages from egg to mature insect. The last thing you want is to open a 10-year-old bucket of wheat and find that it's been decimated by weevils, a big crawly, nasty mess. One issue with freezing is it's not always effective in killing all stages of bug life. Some types of weevil eggs can survive freezing winters, so they may not be killed even if frozen. And you won't necessarily know, what kind of weevil you have, so don't waste a lot of time in freezer space to maybe kill bug eggs. So if you haven't done any long-term food storage, and I'm by no means a professional, but I've done hundreds of pounds of food, you quickly see how unrealistic this whole idea of, freeze it before you store it. Most of us just have a regular refrigerator. So, it's just, not only are there negative aspects to it in my mind, and there's a better way to do it, which is the oxygen-free environment, but it's just not realistic. How long would it take you to freeze 300 pounds of long grain white rice? So it's just not a great option, I don't think. So it's not effective in killing all stages of bug life. Weevils will eat just about any dry whole food in your pantry, including dry beans, whole grains, nuts, corn, and cereal, and they will travel from other foods to wheat berries. This isn't going to be so much of an issue, I don't think, with your long-term food storage, as long as you're preparing it before you're storing it in the Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Or I guess that is actually how you're preparing it. You're storing it in an oxygen-free environment. Freezing wheat increases moisture content. When you store wheat berries in your freezer, you combine your freezer's cold temperature with air, which creates moisture or condensation when the wheat is removed from the freezer. Nothing will spoil wheat faster than moisture. It's hands down the #1 killer of stored grains. This doesn't sound, you've heard in a pinch you could actually eat grain with weevils present, but you can't eat it if it's spoiled with mildew or bacteria. So you've heard stories like during the Civil War of soldiers like in the prisoner of war camps eating like hardtack with weevils. You've heard the stories of the British sailors eating hardtack with weevils. So what is it, the lesser of the two weevils joke? I can't think of it offhand, but it's kind of funny. Warning, dried foods like wheat, rice, beans, and other whole grains must be stored with 10% or less moisture content in an oxygen-free container to avoid botulism and other foodborne bacteria. Freezing wheat takes time and freezer space. I think this is the #1 deterrent in my mind as to why this is not even a good option, not even a little bit. If you're doing, again, bulk storage, I'm not talking about doing like a 10-pound bag, but if you're doing serious volume, freezing is not a good option. How many pounds of how many pounds of what can you fit in your freezer? I need to go back and check that or change it. How many pounds of wheat can you fit in your freezer? Let's say you bought a 50-pound bag of hard winter wheat at a big box store. Let's just say you can fit 10 pounds of wheat in your freezer at a time. And if you've got like an over-under freezer, you don't have a big chest freezer, 10 pounds of wheat, just imagine putting 10 pounds of flour in your freezer, and you've got frozen pizzas in there and maybe some frozen meat, whatever else you've got stored in there. That takes up a lot of room. Okay, so you can fit 10 pounds of wheat in your freezer at a time. The first 10 pounds need to be in the freezer for 5 days if you follow the suggested guidelines for killing bugs. The suggested guidelines for killing bugs by freezing are all over the map. I've seen 3 days all the way up to 2 weeks, just depends on, and that's looking at like state websites, state extension websites. So what's my point? There isn't great information out there, and the best information I've seen is you actually have to track the life cycle of the bug, and that's like impossible to do. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. So you can fit 10 pounds of wheat in your freezer at a time. The first 10 pounds need to be in a freezer for 5 days if you follow the suggested guidelines for killing bugs. That means it'll take you 5 weeks of freezer time to process a 50-pound bag. No thanks. 5 weeks. 5 weeks for one 50-pound bag. Okay. So if you're doing long-term storage, you're probably processing large quantities of dry goods, freezing to kill bugs instead of using oxygen-free containers like Mylar bags, food-grade buckets, and oxygen absorbers is not the best use of your time and resources. Work smart, not hard. Oxygen-free containers are the best way to kill bugs in wheat. Better than freezing, use 2 18 by 24 food-grade Mylar bags. Pour the wheat berries into the bags. Drop a 2,000 cc oxygen absorber in each bag. Seal the bags with a household iron. Mark the package date and food type on the bag, and you're done. Maybe it took you 20 minutes. You could literally do, if you have the buckets laid out, you have your Mylar bags, you have your 2,000 cc oxygen absorbers, you could do 300 pounds of rice in 30 minutes. Storing wheat berries in oxygen-free containers kills bugs, bug eggs, and pupa within 2 weeks, and it's quicker than freezing. This storage method also gives wheat a 30-plus year shelf life. What prepper wouldn't love that? Why freeze your wheat when you can drop a 2,000 cc oxygen absorber in an 18 by 24 Mylar bag, seal it, and forget about it? Watch the Ready Squirrel video below to learn how to store dry goods in buckets with Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, including the tools you need and step-by-step instructions. Freezing, another reason it's not good, it doesn't eliminate bacteria on wheat. Oxygen-free storage does. An oxygen-free storage container eliminates aerobic bacteria. Freezing wheat before storage may actually create a healthier environment for anaerobic bacteria to multiply. So you've got high moisture. If you have oxygen in there, you're going to have the aerobic bacteria that thrives in an oxygen-rich environment. If you have moisture in there and it's oxygen-free, like you've put a oxygen absorber in there, the anaerobic bacteria like botulism is going to thrive. So either way, moisture is a bad juju for your wheat. So it's a vice versa issue there. You're either going to have aerobic or anaerobic bacteria if you've got high moisture, or possibly. You want to repackage wheat, so don't freeze it. If you're gonna store your wheat or your rice for long term, you're gonna have to. Sorry there. Yeah, I did 3 articles. I did one, like I said, one on rice, one on wheat, one on beans, and I got confused there. Okay. You want to repackage wheat so don't freeze it. Like if you get any grains, if you get rice, if you get wheat, if you get beans in large bags, whether it be plastic or anything else, for long-term storage, you're gonna have to repackage all your dry goods. So if you're gonna repackage them anyway, why freeze them and then put them in a bucket, or why freeze them and then put them in a Mylar bag? Just create that optimum oxygen-free environment and don't freeze them. Don't freeze your dry goods. Leave wheat in store packaging and you'll get a maximum shelf life of 1 to 5 years. Maybe this is good enough for you, but it won't keep bug eggs from hatching, moths or weevils from moving in. If you're prepping or interested in a survival pantry, you have to repackage your dry goods. Why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone by using an oxygen-free container to kill bugs and obtain a 30-year shelf life? In walks a superstar of long-term DIY food storage. The best method to get the maximum 30-year shelf life from wheat is, without a doubt, Mylar bags in combination with food-grade buckets and oxygen absorbers. Don't freeze your wheat berries. Store them in food bags and buckets. Mylar bags provide a superior oxygen barrier, and they are not permeable to air or moisture. Better than any other DIY container other than maybe number 10 cans, but the number 10 cans are not going to be available to a lot of us. The downside of Mylar bags, they're super delicate. They're easily damaged. Rodents can chew through them. And if you move them around a lot, they can rip, or you can get pinholing, which is little microscopic pinholes. Use Mylar bags inside food-grade buckets because food-grade pails are a tough outer shell. Buckets act as armor for Mylar bags. Rodents don't usually chew through the buckets. They're stackable, easy to organize, and tough. The downside of buckets for long-term storage, they don't provide a great seal because plastic is permeable to air, and lid seals can be spotty. If you have weevil eggs in your wheat and you just put it in a bucket, there may be oxygen transfer. There is a possibility you will come back a couple of years later to find a squirming mess of crawlies. Mylar bags take care of these issues. Oxygen absorbers and an airtight container are, in my opinion, a must for long-term dry wheat storage. Conclusion. Okay, people have been freezing wheat for years before they store it for long-term storage, but it's not the best method, not even close. At one point in history, freezing was pretty much the only DIY option you had. But oxygen absorbers and Mylar bags changed the food storage game. If you plan on storing with oxygen absorbers and Mylar anyway, freezing is just a hassle and an unnecessary step. Imagine freezing 250 pounds of dry wheat before storing it in 5-gallon buckets. Why? Freezer space is limited and it takes a ridiculous amount of time to get done what you could get done in minutes. If you're storing minimal amounts of wheat, it might be worth it if you want to save money, but not for bulk storage or dry foods. It's not practical, and it poses possible challenges by creating higher moisture content. And that is the end of Don't Freeze Wheat Before Long-Term Storage. This is Scott with Ready Squirrel. Appreciate you guys listening. You can head over to readysquirrel.com. I'm also on BitChute. Subscribe. If you have any comments, let me know down below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.